listening to Over the Oxer podcast with Tracy Cole for all things to do with the mind for equestrians. I want to talk today about that horrible lurching feeling that sometimes we get when we think there's a lack of something. It's that scarcity mindset. I want to think about how it manifests in riders and also how to get rid of it, because a lot of the time it's an impression, it's a perception of lack rather than a true lack. So I want to think about those three big ones, what I consider to be three big ones in terms of scarcity. And that's time, when we feel like we're really time poor. Money, when we feel like we're financially quite poor, which for equestrians is quite a lot of the time. And also in opportunities. Sometimes we don't think that we get exposed to as many opportunities as other people do. So let's have a little think about scarcity mindset. It comes from fear. It comes from a fear of not having or never having something. And it's very pervasive. It's a state of mind that convinces us that there'll never be enough. So if, for example, you meet somebody who has a money scarcity and they become a millionaire for whatever reason and whatever strategy, they still will have that scarcity. They'll feel like they've got to invest it. They'll feel like the next day they could lose it. So they'll be very, very wise about investing, very, very cautious. They'll also be constantly thinking that other people will take the money away, whether that's, people begging for money, if it's charities coming and knocking on their door, or they feel that relatives want their money, or friends, or anybody at all. They'll always want to keep the money because that's their mindset. That's the way they've been programmed. So, even the people who think about time, then they feel that time is slipping away from them. They feel that they haven't got any time constantly. So even if they're on holiday, they're thinking about the end of the holiday. So on day one of the holiday or day two, let's say they've gone away for a week, they're already thinking, I've only got 6 days left, only got 5 days, only got 4 days. And the opportunity people, sometimes the opportunity people look at others and they think that other people have just had a dose of good luck that they never get. So social media is a great one for magnifying this. That you look at people on social media and all of a sudden they are getting ahead, they're getting on, they've won an award or they've become a brand ambassador or something. There'll be something that, and you think, oh gosh, that's just landed on their lap like everything else. Why does nothing like that ever come to me? And it's a trap. It's a trap of fear. It's a fear that you'll never get an opportunity ever. Nobody will ever offer you anything. And you've got to work hard and grind to get whatever you want. So let's have a little think about the different dimensions of a scarcity mindset. I think time scarcity is perhaps very common across different groups of people, across different ages of people. I think it's quite a universal. And we've all experienced pressured deadlines and how on earth are we going to fit everything in? And as equestrians, this kind of is compounded because you've got to look after your horses. Or find someone to look after your horses, and even the finding somebody to look after your horses can be a huge chore. You haven't got time to find somebody if you've got time scarcity. And sometimes there are periods in life where it is difficult to juggle things. And whether that's because of work or children to look after or dogs and cats, or there's other pressures of other relatives, and your horses. It's very true that sometimes time is tight, but to have the scarcity mindset puts you on the back foot, puts you into fear, which is never good, so very strongly. It's almost like there's a lion at your heels. You know, you've got to do everything lightning fast. And the truth is that there is probably more time than you think. And I'll just let that sink in, because I know that most equestrians will be saying, but I've got to do this and this and this before I even get to work. You know, I've got to get up so early, and then I've got to do this. And then the fencing got broken and the horses got out. And again, this is all in the morning, and I've got to fit it all in before I even think about getting changed and getting into a work mindset. But if we can shift our focus, it will help us to feel more comfortable. So that perception that there is no time has to go. You almost have to visualize it as a picture, this scarcity, this lack, and take that picture and throw it down into an imaginary bin, throw it into the bin, and then start to rethink. Think about just about how much time we really do have. If you examine your day, you can find time when we waste time. And you might think, yeah, but I need to just sit down. I'm so tired. I need that sit down. I need to be home by 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. or whatever it is. But what if you gave yourself an extra 15 minutes to do something? How expansive would that feel? If you said to me, for example, that your yard duties or your riding took an hour, and it may take longer in reality, but I'm just saying 1 hour for the sake of argument. Imagine that you give yourself an hour and 15. Imagine just how much more you can breathe through that. Very often, a time scarcity or time poverty is to do with priorities. And it might be that we need to prioritize some of the things. Are we doing too much for other people? Are we putting ourselves last? Could we look on the internet? There's hundreds of these ideas for time saving as an equestrian, and whether that's doing 1,000,000 hay nets on a day, maybe on the weekend when you've got a bit more time. So you've got the hay nets for the week. I've seen people do that. I've seen people set up their feeds for the week. And lots of things like that when you have got a little bit more time. Maybe, and some people won't like this one, leaving the outdoor rugs on so that in the morning you can just turn out. You don't need to be shifting around and swapping rugs over, which can take an amazing amount of time. Where does time go when you're just undoing one rug and throwing another one on? That is really a time vacuum to me. The second one I want to talk about is a money scarcity. Because again, it's another really, really easy trap to fall into, to believe there's never enough money to go around. We want to shift now. Now, this is a weakness of mine. I buy far too much. I buy far too much horsey stuff. I know now there's a couple of products that I've bought in the last month that I probably will use very rarely, if at all. I bought them on a whim, thought, oh, that looks good. Oh, I need one of those. Oh, yes, I'll get one. It's only 20 quid. It's only 30 quid. And I have squandered that money away. And I know now that if I really went through all my bits and boxes and everything, I could probably pull out loads of stuff to sell. I probably could. And so there isn't really any scarcity. And it's shifting to that possibility. Because when you start to think about the money that you waste, then it can be incredible. And if you're saying to me, but I don't waste a penny, I don't waste anything, have a little think about it. It might be that you can get your hay delivered and you buy in bulk, or you buy your bedding in bulk. It might just be some small changes where you're just saving a little bit here and there, and you're really true to yourself in how much you're really spending on your horse and how much a horse really needs, all those supplements, maybe fancy feed, lots of things like this. How many saddle pads have you got, and how many do you really need? And sometimes getting a better mindset around finances and money, besides doing all the financial adding up and realizing that you're wasting some money or you could make some by selling stuff, then also a really nice, easy thing to do just to shift the mindset away from this fear of a lack is to cultivate a gratitude mindset. And I'm going to do an episode on gratitude because I always used to thought it was a bit fluffy and a bit woo-woo and had nothing to do with anything scientific. But actually, when you look at the science behind people who are grateful for things, it's amazing the health benefits mentally, emotionally, and physically. So have a think about what you're grateful for. It may be food in your fridge. A lot of people in this world do not even have that. It may be that you're grateful to have your horses, or you're grateful for something really simple like having a car. And your car may be 20 years old, but it doesn't matter. You've got a car. Lots of people haven't. And it's just being grateful for those things. Grateful for things like health. Grateful for the fact that you've got your well-being. Grateful for the fact that you've got, it could be something very simple, like supportive people around you, supportive parents, or a supportive friend or partner. It could be that you're grateful for your sight or your hearing. It doesn't really matter what it is, but when you start to think about the things that you are grateful for, it moves you away from that fear of not having something like money. Opportunity scarcity is quite insidious. It's the belief that opportunities for you are really scarce and that you have to compete hard for everything that you've ever won. By winning, I don't mean a competitive winning, but things that you have achieved in life. And it's almost like you have to hoard it as well. Whatever you've got, you play your cards excessively close to your chest. You don't tell people about things. You don't share it. You don't make sure everyone's got a little piece of the opportunity and that you can spread it around if you like. But the truth is that opportunities actually abound and they're everywhere. And the way to make sure that you see this is to tell your mind what it is that you want. When you start focusing on what you want, and that could be a visual, or it could be you saying it to yourself in your head, or you've got this warm feeling of what it would be like when you get what you want, your mind understands it, and your unconscious mind has the ability to flag up opportunities for you. So you are activating that part of the mind that will tell you, highlight, make sure you are aware of potentials and people and places that you can use as a stepping stone. Another thing to think about when you're thinking about scarcity in general is not only to adopt really empowering beliefs that are the opposites, because sometimes that's hard to do. Sometimes the negativity of a scarcity mindset is so ingrained. It's ingrained because when we were hunter-gatherers, we had to be very careful with resources, because maybe the resources that we collected in the summer and the autumn weren't going to last us through the winter. So we had to make sure that we were very, very cautious. But we don't live like that anymore. We might have the brain that thinks like that, but we don't have the life. So what will undo that scarcity mindset are things like gratitude, which I've already mentioned, also mindfulness, allowing you to appreciate the richness of your surroundings, the richness of an experience. Mindfulness could be something as easy as enjoying a meal. How often do you eat a meal and it's over and done with in minutes? And you might wish that you hadn't finished it quite so quickly. Imagine savouring each mouthful and being aware of how sweet or how salty something is. Imagine just being able to taste it and taking the time to truly enjoy it. So mindfulness doesn't need to be that you suddenly have to clear the decks and have half an hour in the day to sit down and be mindful. It could be that, but it can also be some of the experiences that are every day and you simply enjoy. The last way of thinking about scarcity is to reframe it. Instead of seeing it as a limitation, think about it as a challenge to be overcome. So each time you think of a scarcity, it may be that this just propels you forward and you think of it as an opportunity, a new signpost to change direction or to dig deeper. And it might be that by doing this, we actually grow. And reframing scarcity in this way helps us to unlock creativity and discover new possibilities. I think, as well as all of these things, one final word would be to say, don't forget to surround yourself with people who have the opposite of the scarcity mindset. They have a bit of an abundance mindset. These people don't moan about lack of money or lack of time or the fact that everybody else has got an easier life than them. These people are positive and they have that uplifting energy, and it's just pleasant to be around them. So although scarcity mindsets, in whatever form they turn up, sometimes seen as formidable adversaries, they are not insurmountable. They are a mindset. They are a gang of neurons, nerve cells, firing off in a certain way. That's what they are. They are a perception. And we can shift that perception by adopting certain changes in our thinking. And we can be reminded of the abundance that's actually around us. Even if nothing actually changes in life, being reminded of that helps us to feel so much more at ease. Something that I really like to think about is that abundance is not acquisition. Abundance is something we tune into. See how abundant and how many abundance examples you can find today. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Thanks ever so much for listening. Take care, and I'll see you again very soon.